Well, you know, as a second-generation Imagineer, it was super, super important to me and to the whole team to bring back every element that Walt Disney and his original Imagineers had put out here. And so we looked at renderings of the original Mark Davis and Sam McKim rendering and thought a lot about, with the new topography, the way that the river was going to be laid out, exactly how to bring all of those things back in even a more, you know, grander way. With the big mountains that we were able to create because of the different levels that we wanted to have. We were able to bring the waterfalls back, like you say, and create very specific geographical zones for the 4 different rivers, the Mississippi, Columbia, Missouri, and Rio Grande. So you can definitely tell the difference as you travel from each region in rockwork, in plant style, in tree style, and in animal. We brought back all of the animals that we had. We took out, our animation shop did an amazing job of fixing all of them back up and repainting them completely and repairing any animation they had. And then we created our forest scene with the deer and our wonderful Lakota Indian village with the shaman, who's now one of our most advanced AA figures, now stands up on the precipice of the cliffs and does his speech about how the woodpecker taught the brave how to make a flute out of a piece of wood. And you can really see the beautiful animation, the sweeping moves that he makes. The Lakota village is back, but we've added smoke to the fires and some wonderful props and things that really tell that story. And what's fantastic is from the train now, you're able to see these scenes also. You get the visions of the deer, you see all the waterfalls, you pass by them, you even get some spray off one of them. You can see the Lakota village. All of those scenes are to you now. And with our new left-hand turn that we make on the train, we're able to create a whole Rio Grande desert of kinds that harkens back to the old mine train ride through the living desert that Walt had, Nature's Wonderland. So we have some scenes that we recreated that were some of the originals that Mark had done for that as well.
Now, you had talked earlier about adding in some elements that were from concept drawings that had never been realized in the first iteration of the train. Can you give any specifics?
Well, I like those to be a surprise because they're really pretty fun, but there's some, you know, some renderings that Sam did and Mark, they had such a good sense of humor and they just never made it into the original show. So we've tweaked them a little bit because we had to. We couldn't find exactly the same things that they had, but there are some new things along the way I think people get a kick out of.
Is there anything in particular that you're especially proud of having preserved or restored to this?
Well, aside from all of these things, including Mike Fink's cabin, it's back too in all its splendor. He even has smoke coming out of his chimney now. But we've also completely rehabbed the dioramas, which are very important to the park. You know, Walt brought both of those in, one early in '58 and then the Primeval World in the '60s after it was at the World's Fair. And those really haven't had a lot of work done to them through the years, and it was really important to us after the train being down for this long to bring those back in the original splendor that they were, plus some, because with today's technology we can add some effects and things that tell that whole story of a day in the canyon going from sunrise to sunset and the rainstorm, and then in Primeval World the whole story of, you know, the thriving dinosaur world that then ends in peril with the big volcanoes and such. And so I think they're very dynamic, and I know the original Imagineers and Walt would have been so happy with them.
Tomorrow, when this opens to the public, there have been lots of comments made online that it's going to be the longest lines that anybody's ever seen for the train and for the Mark Twain, for people to get a chance to look at not only the new additions here, but also kind of a peek over the hedge into Star Wars land. As you were constructing it, I mean, obviously you were aware that you had this ginormous land going on behind you. What was the thought in terms of using the berm to block that? Is there additional work coming to provide more of a barrier?
There will be additional work, and I think first of all the height of the berm that we were able to put in is intended to not have you look into Star Wars Land or have Star Wars Land look out into the frontier. They're just two stories that we don't want to mix. That was such an advantage for us because it gave us the heights to do the mountains and the forest. But our landscape architect, Paul Norconk, was able to get the most amazing full-grown trees, a lot of them from Oregon and the Pacific Northwest, to put on that berm, which is doing a pretty good job already, but they will grow to very high heights and create that beautiful, you know, enveloping the river into its own place, which it wants to be. I mean, who can believe you're in the middle of Anaheim when you're out on this river, you know? And that was the genius of Walt and his Imagineers, once again, to do berms and keep different lands separate from one another.